Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, ciao, mahaba, moni muli wanji, namaste, jambo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jed Lee, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted that you're part of our effort to help families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you find your podcasts. Our guests today are the Lee family, John, Shearin, and Aliyah. They are here to celebrate their Joy Sun Bear Pandemic Workbook. Before we invite the Lee family into the studio, we want to invite you to visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter. Check out our blog. Check out our certified Great Read Wall of Fame. And absolutely be sure to check out our merch page. You could be the first one in your neighborhood to wear the stylish and beautiful Reading with Your Kids face mask. Keep your friends and family safe. Keep yourself safe as you also promote reading. You can find it all at our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Joining us right now from sunny Southern California. Love this great family project here. We're talking to the creators of the Joy Sun Bear series. They've created a brand new pandemic workbook for kids and families to work on together. Please welcome to the show, John, Shearin, and Aliyah Lee. How are you folks?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. We were talking about the weather. It's nice and chilly and frosty here in Boston. It's nice and warm out in Southern. Well, they think it's cool out in Southern California. We won't have a debate about that. John and Shearin were on the show before to celebrate Joy Sun Bear, and today they are joined by their daughter Aliyah, who is almost 11. And I thought she was 17 because she is so articulate and so intelligent. And Aliyah, why don't we start with you? Tell us, what's this pandemic workbook all about?
So, in the summer before 5th grade, my mom had the idea about a COVID journal because lots of kids here in 2020 and in 2021 were going through lots. So I thought it was a really good idea and could help lots of people. So that day we went down and started jotting ideas of what to do and stuff. And we were like drawing and thinking of activities that could be in the workbook and what kids would understand and like know how to deal with those things once they read it.
Yeah. It's a really good idea because this is a really hard time. I know this is a hard thing for me to kind of deal with. And me and my beautiful wife, we're really fortunate. We're able to work from home and we have savings and so we're secure. So many other families are in such different circumstances and we're not kids. And, for a kid who's 10, almost 11, this is like a tenth of her life that she's been in lockdown. That's an incredible percentage of time. Shearin, can you remind us who Joy Sun Bear is? Such a wonderful character.
Thank you. So Joy Sun Bear was created by Blanca Carranza, and he was initially created to help kids learn about different cultures around the world and to create tolerance and acceptance between kids that look and are raised differently. And so in our first book, it's about him and his adventure with his friends and what he learns and discovers on his own adventure. And it really teaches kids about just diversity, kindness, empowerment, and really just also touches on real world facts, learning about nature and giving kids a really global perspective but, really giving them the tools they need to feel like they can make a difference in the world. And through these animal characters that they can relate to, that was our goal with the first book. And so with this book, we thought, a lot of kids can't sit and talk with their friends and play with their friends. So why not bring these characters, which we're so grateful that a lot of kids have enjoyed and connected with, into this project, and have the kids really sit down and feel like their friend is there for them as they're going through these difficult times, and it's someone they can talk to, and the characters actually go through the different 5 different universal emotions and share their experience with COVID. So the kids get to learn how to process and accept their emotions while also getting to practice and feel empowered to help the Joy Sunbear characters when they're dealing with their emotions related to COVID.
Wow. So, John, tell me, remind everybody about those universal feelings that Shearin was just mentioning, please.
Sure thing. So there are many universal emotions that are recognized by, modern psychology. But the 5 that we chose to tackle in this workbook are scared, sad, mad, disgusted, and happy. And the reason we chose those we felt they were the simplest for children to relate to. They were a good entry point into, emotional awareness. And so many of us experience variations of those 5 main emotions. And we made sure to highlight that in the introduction page to each emotion. Sad may also sound like, or may also feel like, you may also hear, sad referred to as blue or bummed, or, disgusted might have another, might be described as another word. I'm trying to remember some of them, and I can't off the top of my head. Yucky, yeah. Icky.
Yeah. Things
gross.
That kids could connect with and relate to.
Yeah. So we tried to give them good entry points, into these concepts.
Yeah. One of the things, Aliyah, that was really hard for my son when he was young, it was really easy for him to understand the difference between happy and mad. But when it came down to disgusted and sad, those and mad, those emotions all kind of got jumbled together, and they always came out as anger. And so it was really hard for him to kind of learn how to understand, am I really feeling angry, or am I sad and that makes me angry, or am I disgusted and that makes me angry? How about you? Is it difficult for you to separate those kind of feelings?
No, thanks to these good people.
This kid.
They taught me how to understand what sad means, and how it's separated from disgusted and angry, and how they can all, when you think of, let's say, like sad, you can think of mad too. It's hard to, when you're sad, you can also be mad at the same time. Because when you're sad, some people don't really know why they're sad, and they get mad at themselves for not knowing. And that's okay. But you shouldn't be hard on yourself of that, because it's just learning. But they taught me how to try to separate sad from mad and disgusted, and try to learn what they actually mean.
I'm glad you brought that up, Jed. Actually, we do have several exercises in there to help kind of distinguish why the reader might be mad or why they might feel disgusted. In particular with mad, right, we talk about how we have a page where it looks like a volcano, right? And we describe anger as the eruption. And we say, but you know what? There's a lot of reasons why you might be angry. Sometimes something happens and we get really angry at that something, or we react to that something, but we're not really mostly upset about that single event. We're upset about all the things that have built up. So, this volcano page encourages the reader to write down all the reasons they might have blown up in the volcano. We also, you talked about disgusted. We kind of break down the idea of why am I disgusted? Where did that disgusted idea come from? Is it something from my own experience? Like, did I eat something and I felt sick afterwards and that's why that food disgusts me? Or was it an idea that was given to me? Did someone else say, hey, people of that skin color are disgusting for this reason? You know, and we have those pages to help kind of break down those ideas and build that awareness.
Wow. You know, these are really, I have to tell you, I'm really impressed with Aliyah. I mean, she explained those feelings. I mean, I majored in psychology in college, and she was better than most of the professors I had back in college. Aliyah, I have a question for your mom, but before I do, I got to tell you one thing that disgusts me these days is when I sneeze into my mask. You know, you're in a supermarket, you got a sneeze coming on, you can't take the mask off, and it's just gross. Shearin, how did you get to the point where you felt comfortable talking about these issues with Aliyah? Because I know a lot of times, you know, parents are always talking about, oh, kids aren't comfortable talking about this, and kids aren't comfortable talking about that. And I think the reality is, a lot of times, it's the parents aren't comfortable talking about it.
Yeah. Well, you know, through my own personal journey, I have learned a lot becoming a parent. And from day one, you know, we talked about when we raise Aliyah, we're going to treat Aliyah like a person. We're not going to treat her less than us because she's a child. So, which is very different from how I and many of our generation grew up. So, you know, we have always explained things to her, you know, to the best of our ability and at you know, in a language that she could understand at every stage of age. And we always showed her that, you know, we respect your opinion. We respect what you feel. And, you know, we'll explain what's happening. We won't just say no and you have to listen because we're a parent. Yes, you do have to respect us because you're a parent, but we're going to tell you why, just so you know there's a reason, and we can build that trust with each other and that communication. And it's like the number one thing that I would recommend to any new parent is talk to your child from a young age. She was able to communicate with us and has a very high emotional intelligence since she was little. And a lot of it is her, and a lot of it's just the work we've put into and the respect of treating her like a person, and knowing that one day she's going to be an adult and she's going to have her own life. And we want to prep her and give her the best foundation we can and the tools that she needs so that she will be, you know, as healthy and balanced and successful as she can be. And so, you know, when this pandemic hit, it was really, really hard for us. For me in particular, you know, I have been a stay-at-home mom, and, you know, working on Joy Summer, fortunately from home, but seeing that my daughter couldn't go, you know, play with her friends and, you know, go to school and interact and have that social experience, was very hard. And when I noticed that she was starting to that was all starting to pent up inside her. And as much as she's very good at talking with us, this was a new experience for everybody. And it was just so new and different and confusing. And there was so many of those different emotions embedded in it, you know, the frustration, the anger, the confusion, the sadness. And, you know, I'm so proud of her that she was willing to work with us as we all figured out together, how are we going to help her through this? And so that's what we did as a family. We just stuck to what we've always done. We would be honest. We'd talk about it. We would give her space and, you know, not judge her and let her have her feelings. And then later when she was a little calmed down, be like, hey, you know, you were crying. Do you know why? And, you know, and just really be there for her. And through that, I was inspired to create this with her because I was like, I know there's other parents out there that are feeling helpless and confused. And I really hope that this book can give them that help that they need.
You know, I love hearing about you speaking honestly about your relationship, that, you know, you have a great relationship, but it takes work. It's hard, and it takes effort. It takes trust. You have to trust John and Shearin. You have to trust each other. You have to trust Aliyah. Aliyah, you have to trust these old people in your house that are always telling you what to do and driving you crazy. Leave me alone. Let me just be by myself. Aliyah, tell me, please, kind of take me through the past year. What has it been like? What did you feel like when you first heard that what we heard here in Boston, 2 weeks, going to stay home for 2 weeks, then it's going to be all gone, we'll be all set, and then 2 weeks later it's like, I don't think so. It's going to take us a while. How were you feeling when that first happened?
Well, when they said, like, we're going to stay home for 2 weeks, and then when that 2 weeks is done, we're going to be all free. That did not happen. So, I decided to not pay attention to that, because what about the flu? The flu takes like at least a month or two, and the COVID is something way worse.
How did you feel?
So I felt like lots of things. I felt sad that people were dying for it. I felt angry that people couldn't take responsibility. Some people didn't want to wear masks and social distance. I didn't really feel disgusted. I don't remember where I felt disgusted, but I felt happy that my family were there for me. And yeah.
That's cool. Well, you obviously haven't sneezed into your mask, so good on you. That's really good. That's John, how did it feel coming together? I know, you worked with Shearin on Joyce Sunbear and your other collaborator to create the series. Now, how did it feel bringing Aliyah into the process?
Well, to be honest with you, Aliyah's always been there. She was sort of a de facto content editor during our first book. I would sit and work on the manuscript, and I'd read it to her and Shearin, chapter by chapter, and gauge their reaction. And when it came time to do the illustrations, I'd do an illustration. I'd call Aliyah over. I'd be like, hey, take a look at this. And, if she instantly laughed, I knew I had a hit. I knew it was the right picture. If she didn't, I went, time to clear it off and start over. So, she's always kind of been a part of the process. And, but for her to become involved in this project, I was really proud, actually, of her and Shearin both, to sit down and think, hey, this is something that we know the world needs, and we want to put it together. And when Shearin brought the idea to me and floated it, I was all on board. I thought it was a brilliant idea. I thought it was a great thing to, involve Aliyah, especially at her age. It was a nice project seeing mom and daughter, working together on it. It felt really good. So yeah, it's she's a part of the Joyce Sunbear family. She always has been. She's always
been so kind, but especially with the pandemic happening, she's been her classroom cheerleader, is what her teacher calls her. And she's, after we started this project, I noticed that she was sending positive affirmations and mantras and encouraging messages to her friends online in the Google Classroom, or, is that what it is, the Google Classroom? Yeah. And her, she was telling them like, it's okay, we can get through this, you're awesome, and her friends or classmates were responding and saying how much it was helping them. And when her teacher came around and told us that she calls Aliyah the classroom cheerleader, we were just so proud. And we knew that, like, just the way that, we were able to go through this as a family and help each other through all these difficult times. And for her to be part of this project has even, given her even more encouragement to help others. And it was just really, really awesome to see that she was using what she's learning through the experience with us in this project to help her classmates and other people.
That's awesome. Aliyah, you remind me a lot of my daughter when she was younger. She's 25 right now. She just got engaged. Can you believe that? It's amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well, I've been engaged for a long time. But no, but Alejandra was that cheerleader, that person in the class that was always encouraging others. And in fact, she she was that kid who was always the star of the musical and the top dancer at her studios, and everybody thought, oh yeah, she's going to be a star, she's going to be a performer. And then in high school, I was the first one to find out. She said, I don't want to be a star, I want to be backstage, and I want to help other people be a star. So it sounds like you have the same personality as my daughter. How did you get the courage to do that? Because I know a lot of kids out there, and a lot of adults too, they want to encourage others, but they're afraid because sometimes when you try to cheer somebody up or help them feel better, sometimes the person is so angry they snap at you. So a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to take a chance. How did you get that courage inside you to be that cheerleader for others?
I got it from them, and I got it from myself.
Well, that's a beautiful team, huh? You guys are helping each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give this out to whoever. I know back in the end of March, the beginning of April, I was buying the line that we were going to be back. And, and if it wasn't right away at the end of March, it was going to be soon, May, June, this would be over. And I had a lot of authors coming to me and say, hey, I wrote a book about the pandemic. And I'm thinking to myself, it's going to be kind of irrelevant in a little while. It's going to be over. I'm thinking that this pandemic workbook is going to be something that's relevant for a long time. Because we mentioned earlier on that Aliyah spent a tenth of her life in lockdown. A 5-year-old spent 20% of their life in lockdown. It's going to take a long time for grown-ups, but especially for kids, to kind of process a lot of the feelings, even once we're back to whatever the new normal is going to be. Are you thinking the same thing I'm thinking?
Yeah. I personally, with my experience with PTSD, I know that is something that it lasts for years. And so I knew when we started working on this that this was something that could possibly help kids, a few years down the line, because it can take that long for them to really swallow and process what is going on and how it affected them. And so, we're hoping that, like you said, this is a tool that they can use for many years to help them through the PTSD, through, just all the trauma in a way, all the scars, it's been hard and every kid's in a different situation. There's kids that are unfortunately in abusive homes, and there's kids that have lost people to COVID. We've been blessed so far. We haven't lost anyone close to us, but you never know. And that unknown is very scary for any human being, but especially for a child going through an unprecedented time like this. So, if our book can be, even if it could be just a little bit of a support and encouragement and guidance for them, a light for them in this dark time that they can, use to help them process, understand, express these emotions, learn about mindfulness, like we talk about. We do breathing techniques, yoga, we do all these different things in there, writing, drawing. Use these tools to aid them and guide them through this. That will be just such the greatest gift for us to know that we were able to do that for somebody else.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best aspects, I think, of this workbook is that although it is COVID focused, there are sections clearly dedicated to relating these emotional tools and techniques to dealing with COVID and the feelings you get, in this crisis. The vast majority of the workbook is situation agnostic, right? It doesn't necessarily apply just to COVID. You can take these tools or use these pages when you're dealing with anything, really. And we did that on purpose. We wanted these tools to be timeless. We wanted them to build an emotional toolkit, and we wanted the reader to be able to use that emotional toolkit for specific COVID sections. So the reader can take these techniques, they can take these activities, and they can use them at any point in time in their life going forward, and they can share them with anybody that they come across.
We've had some adults actually reach out and say, hey, this is great. I'm going to use this. And that's because a lot of my personal healing journey is in this book, all the tools that I've been picking up through the years as I heal. And, it's anybody could really, your inner child needs that healing. Your inner child may need that attention and that love that you didn't get when you were younger. And this book can be a great tool for that as well, for your inner child or your little child in your home.
Well, this is beautiful. I mean, Aliyah, I got to tell you, you've done a great job so far. But I got to tell you, part of when you're promoting a book, when you're pitching a book and letting the world know all about your great book, and you want the world to know about your great book, because I think that your pandemic workbook is going to help a lot of families. One of the things you need to learn how to do is to let folks know where they can go to find your book, to find out more about your book, all that website stuff. Do you have that? Are you able to tell us where to go to get their own pandemic workbook?
Amazon.
There you go. That's
easy, right?
And is your website where folks can go to find out more about the Joy Sun Bear brand and series and all of that stuff?
Yes, they can go to joysunbear.com, and we have lots of free activities for kids to learn about different cultures and drawing and foods and crafts that they can do from around the world. And then we have our book, and we're getting our new book on there as well. And then we're also on social media, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's all on our website as well.
Awesome. And I don't know, is your book, one of the things we love to do is to encourage families when they can to support their independent and small bookstores. And am I able to call up my neighborhood bookstore and say, hey, do you guys have Joy Sun Bear? No? Can you order it for me? Are indie bookstores able to do that?
They're able to do that with the Blue Amber of Sumatra, which is the first book in the series. That one is on Ingram Sparks, so bookstores and libraries can order through there. The Big Changes, New Adventures, COVID Feelings Workbook, we're in the process of getting that onto Ingram Sparks now. So
excellent.
Soon.
And that helps your indie bookstore. It also helps John, Shearin, and Aliyah too, because it puts them on the bookstore's radar, and they're going to say, oh, someone in the neighborhood likes these guys. I have to check them out, put them on my bookshelf.
Yeah, definitely. And then we also, through our website and our email, which is on there, we are happy to work with schools or churches or any groups that want to order multiple copies of this workbook and to offer a bulk discount to, help them out and to get this into as many hands as possible, because we know how important it is right now. So that's also an option, and we hope that we can help many schools out there and churches and other groups that are interested in helping with the mental and emotional well-being of their children.
Excellent. And I know I didn't say the official title of the book. Remind everybody again, what's the official title of the workbook?
Remember? Big Changes, New Adventures, a COVID Feelings Workbook.
Big Changes, New Adventures, a COVID Feelings Workbook. We've had a really great time speaking to this wonderful family, John, Shearin, and Aliyah Lee. My friends, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you again for having us.
Yes, it was an honor. Thank you so much for your support.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Holly Sharp. She'll be here to celebrate, dream it, and do it. So be sure you do it. Join us for the next edition of the podcast. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, want to thank our guests, John, Shearin, and Aliyah Lee. Be sure to check out their pandemic workbook. Also want to thank my team, Alejandra Doherty, Fatima Khan, our amazing interns, Hannah Pato Boyski, and Alexia Brown. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. I want to thank you. You are the reason that we are here. We are here to support you, to help you grow closer with your family through reading. And we want to thank you for making the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.